All right, everyone, hit that like, hit that subscribe, turn those notifications on. Sports Hounds going live on A2D Radio right now.
Let's go! This ain't the fuck like oh, this game he stink!
Oh shit!
It's gone!
All right, happy Monday night, everyone. Sports Hounds live exclusively on A2DRadio.com. Make sure you turn those notifications on. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Don't miss a damn thing here related to sports here on A2D Radio. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, Periscope, and Instagram. If you miss anything here on A2D Radio, download us wherever you get your favorite podcast, Spreaker, Spotify, Google Play, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Takeover Talk. We're absolutely everywhere, constantly growing, giving you the facts of sports with no agenda. He's Brad Ryer. I'm Rob Brinkman. Frank Vesby's producing. Rely on you, the fans. We're brought to you by ARIA Public Adjusting each and every Monday, 813-564-3364. Don't fight your homeowner's insurance alone. Contact ARIA Public Adjusting. Get them on your side. Tell them the boys here at A2D Radio sent you, and they'll take great care of you. We're also brought to you by All Campus down on the Ocean City Boardwalk, proud sponsor of the Rant Booth featuring myself and John Coyle every Sunday morning at 11:30 a.m. Come on down, get 20% off, be an A2D member, buy your hats, become an A2D member, $9.99 a month. Use the link in the bio. You get gambling picks from the Money Pop Podcast and Willie Vegas, as well as other great benefits. I have the Yankees tonight, Brad, -1.5 against the stinky Orioles. Center stage for Brad's teams tonight. They're the focal point of hockey. They are the focal point of the MLB. That brings us to our poll question tonight. The New York Yankees are the best team in the MLB. Mr. Yankee, Brad Ryer, I'll defer to you because it looks like they are quite a baseball team this season.
You know, it's only May. And a lot of things can happen from now till October. But right now, they're playing great baseball. And really the key to their team is their pitching. Their hitting has been up and down all year. They're only hitting .247 as a team. They're hitting a ton of home runs like they always do. Yesterday was a perfect example. They had 2 hits yesterday. They scored 5 runs because one of those 2 hits was a 3-run home run by Gallo. And then they scored the other 3 runs because the pitcher on the White Sox went and walked in 2 runs. And then in a bases loaded 2-out situation, he walked in 2 runs. And then he threw a wild pitch so that the 3rd run could score. So that was their offense. You know, two walked-in runs, a wild pitch that scored a run, and then Gallo hit a 2-run home run in the 9th. That was it. That was their offense. They still end up scoring 5 runs, and that's kind of how the season's been for them. It's like no matter what they do, everything seems to go right. So right now they're the best team in baseball. No question about it. Look at their record. Look at what they've done to Toronto. They played Toronto 9 times, beat them 6 times. Toronto was clearly annoyed with the Yankees the last time they played them because they got beat so soundly 2 times in a row at Yankee Stadium. They almost had a bench-clearing brawl because they started throwing at the Yankees. The Yankees are doing everything right. They almost got a sweep against a really good Chicago White Sox team that's supposed to be all that in a bag of chips in the American League Central, and the Yankees handled them pretty easily, with the exception of Saturday night. And really, they're doing everything right. So we'll see what happens. I mean, the big test is going to be next week when Tampa Bay and the Yankees square off because, as we all know, they have real problems with Tampa Bay, and we'll see then. But right now they are.
So they're 25-9. They're first place in a very tough American League East, and bring up they're already 4.5 up on Tampa Bay. Not a bad record for Tampa Bay at all, 21-14. And Tampa, we talk about it all the time. They just do all the little things right. I mean, the Yankees, not only are they scoring a bunch of runs. First off, Stanton, it looks like Stanton. Like, he's not inconsistent. He's not injured yet. He's hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. Aaron Judge is clearly motivated because he wants his money in the offseason. He's hitting bomb after bomb after bomb after bomb. He's certainly staked his claim as, in my opinion, the early favorite to be the American League MVP. But, I mean, look at this team's run differential, Brad. I mean, 167 runs scored to just 98 given up. To put that in perspective, the Tampa Bay Rays are a very good baseball team. They're 7 games above 500, playing 600 ball. They've given up 147 runs. And they preach on, their pitching. They have their pitching, they play their games, they have their bullpen, they don't wear their guys out. But they've given up 147 runs. I'm not a mathematician, but that's about 50 runs, more than the New York Yankees have given up. So, and the Yankees have scored about 21 more runs than the Rays, to be exact. So, not only are the Yankees scoring, they're not giving anything up. A plus 69 run differential throughout the early season.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was that much, to be honest.
I mean, look, what did I talk about when we did our prediction show? Now, my predictions all stunk, at least through May. It's a long season, so we'll see how it shakes out. But my predictions stunk because I believed in the Red Sox over the New York Yankees. But what do you look at? You look at a team that can score runs. You look at a team that does the little things, which the Yankees are doing right now.
They can pitch. That's the key. Is their starting pitching has been really good, and the bullpen is always good. You never have to worry about that. I mean, they'll every once in a while somebody might go out there and blow a game, but for the most part, almost every guy they bring in, they don't really. To be honest with you, Rob, the only guy in that bullpen right now that scares me is Chapman because he's always pitching himself into and out of trouble. And he didn't get away with it Saturday night, but it's like, they're winning like almost 8 out of 10 games. It seems like they're constantly on winning streaks all the time. And their pitching's been unbelievable this year.
I mean, they're 7-3 in their last 10. Only a 1-game winning streak, but I mean, they're 14-4 in the Bronx and 11-5 on the road. So dominant both ways. I mean, you look at their lineup. I mean, just look at their lineup tonight. I mean, you have Donaldson in the 2-hole, I think, tonight. Hold on, I just had it here and I lost it.
Yeah, I just turned it on. I haven't checked the lineup yet.
I mean, that's the Orioles, so
I'm sure that they're resting.
Yeah, I mean, you have LeMahieu, Donaldson, Rizzo, who's been great lefty in that ballpark there.
Yeah, the rest.
Judge isn't even in the lineup tonight, and Gleyber, even guys like Gleyber Torres and Joey Gallo are starting to show signs of life as we move towards deeper into May, more towards Memorial Day into June. So, the Yankees, by far the best team in baseball. They have the best talent. They have the best pitching. They have the best bullpen. For my money, Nestor Cortez is the Cy Young. I know there's some other guys.
I'll tell you what, he's got one of the nastiest curveballs I've ever seen. And he throws it from about 20 different angles, which is crazy. I mean, he kind of reminds me a lot of David Cone, when David Cone used to pitch for the Yankees. He doesn't necessarily. Cone had a better fastball. I mean, you're never going to see Nestor throw one over 93 miles an hour. I think yesterday the fastest pitch he threw was 93.5. But he comes at you at a million different angles, and he's got this really nasty cutter that he throws to righties, and then this looping curveball that seems to just dive, and it's very hard to hit. And he throws strikes. He gets everything over the plate. The guy is literally a strike machine. And he pitches fast, so the games are never more than 2.5 to 3 hours when he's pitching. And he's like a joy to watch if you're watching a baseball game because you don't have to sit there for 4 hours watching the game.
I traded him. I traded him this morning in a fantasy league. It broke my heart.
Well, look, whether this will last all season, I don't know. That remains to be seen. He was outstanding in the second half of the season last year, and he's picked up right where he left off. I mean,
he did catch some headlines late in the day here, Brad, with his Twitter account. He took down some tweets that were racially offensive, supposedly. I didn't really look into the whole story. Literally, I saw it right before we went on the air here, so I guess that's something to watch.
What was he making jokes about his nationality?
I don't know what he was doing here. I'll look at it. Here,
I have no idea what he said, by the way.
Cortez deactivates his Twitter. Yankee starter pulls social media account after tweets that included racial slurs surfaced. That's according to ESPN. So whether he's going to get
racial slurs at him or was he making them back?
Doesn't matter.
Well,
shouldn't be doing that.
I'm just curious who was somebody racially slurring him, or did he slur somebody else? Did he slur somebody? Because he shouldn't be doing that if that's the case.
He shouldn't be doing it either way. I mean, these idiots on Twitter, they're a bunch of idiots. They say whatever they want, and then if you say anything back, they report you, and then you're blocked. And then if you're famous, it goes to, fake news, whatever, and you're wrong no matter what.
That's why
true. That's why Twitter's unfair, and Elon Musk is going to buy it and fix it, hopefully, because it's not. It's not a fair fight between people with a flat platform and regular people like me and you. It's just not.
Yeah, because they can't say anything. You can say anything you want to them, and they can't answer back at you.
Let me see if I can do some digging here real quick. See what he said. But I mean, that drastically changes the New York Yankees.
Well, when you think about it, Severino is now their number 4 pitcher. Okay, Severino has not pitched badly. Severino's pitched pretty well. But Montgomery and Nestor Cortez are now the number 2 and number 3 starters for the Yankees.
And Garrett Cole not going. Garrett Cole was scuffled a bit his first couple starts, leading to people like me who, post things on social media like, oh, I guess Garrett Cole's no good anymore ever since he got, the pine tar incident. Well, that's not the case because they check him extensively.
No, the spider tack.
Whatever he was doing.
Yeah, it was the spider tack.
So, but he seems to be back. And then you have, I know Sevy's on the mound tonight. Domingo Germán looks like he's coming back soon-ish.
By the way, Donaldson just got another hit, so he's got a hit.
I gotta grab him up in that league.
Yeah, he's been on fire. So, yeah, I mean, there's no way he was going to bat 130. I mean, if you got rid of him, just sometimes there's certain guys you have to be patient with. I mean, Rob, I have Joey Gallo on my team. How patient do you think I was with him? I was like, I know
probably a lot. I can't stand Joey Gallo.
Yeah, but you know what? He's going to end up hitting about 35 to 40 home runs. So, he's going to have weeks where he's a minus player, and then he's going to have weeks where he's going to put 20, 30 points on the board. So,
all right. So this is like a nothing burger story that should just blow over for Cortez if that makes Yankee Nation here feel any better. So, from 2012 to 2015, he was really into rap music, and he was quoting lyrics on Twitter, and they surfaced, and they had bad words in them. So they surfaced, and he took down his Twitter, and he's catching some heat for it.
So that was 7 years ago?
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And he's quoting rap lyrics. So, I mean, okay. So that headline, that's a fake news headline.
Yeah.
That's a fake news. That's a fake news headline because he's on the Yankees and he's doing well. That headline makes it seem like he went out and said something bad about a certain gender or a certain group when that's not the case. He's quoting rap lyrics 7 years ago when he was 20 years old, 27 now. So from when he was 20 to 23, on his Twitter account, he quoted rap lyrics with bad words in them. So this is going to blow over, and he shouldn't be facing any extended discipline from the MLB.
That's kind of silly, especially when he's a model citizen now.
Brian Wilson's in the house, formerly known as Willie Vegas. What's up, boys? Unfortunately, I have to agree with the poll. The Yanks are the best team currently. Houston, who's playing in Fenway right now on MLB Network, they're probably second. Both teams, I think, have 11-game winning streaks.
It's because of Yordan Alvarez. He's just
he's mashing
the baseball.
He swings so hard, he never gets cheated up there, and he's super selective.
He reminds me a lot of Ortiz. He really does. Hopefully, he won't kill the Yankees the way Ortiz used to.
I mean, at least you play him a lot less. James Lill checking us out on YouTube. Should I pick the Yankees to win this game? Only bet of the night I made was the Yankees -1.5. They've had their way with the Baltimore Orioles over the years. Baltimore Orioles are not very good. The Yankees are very good. The Yankees have, even though Severino isn't all that in a bag of chips, the Yankees have the advantage in the pitching matchup with Severino taking on Kyle Bradish, whoever that is.
I don't know, but he's been in trouble every inning, and he's thrown 46 pitches, and it's the top of the third inning.
So you're going to get him out of there. You're going to get into a stinky Baltimore Orioles bullpen, and
that's
the floodgates should open sooner rather than later here in this game. So strong play on the Yankees tonight, there, James. Brothers BKL Contreras. The Yankees became the hottest team of MLB, and there are first ranking in all batting average, OPS, WHIP, and other categories. They know exactly how they need to win and become World Series champions. I mean, it's hard to argue with the stats. It's hard to argue with that run differential. A +69 run differential in May is silly.
Wow, Stanton just hurt the baseball just now.
Did he hit a home run?
One hop off the wall, and there's a play at the plate.
So double, Yankees threatening.
Stanton just tried to stretch it into a triple. If I were Stanton, I wouldn't even try to get into a pickoff. He wisely pulled up and allowed himself to get tagged. I mean, he hit that ball so hard.
So what? Do we have a score?
Yeah, it's 1-0 now.
1-0. So 1-0 Yankees.
Innings over. I mean, he hit the ball one hop off the 390. It's 396 feet to left center field now in Baltimore. Rob, can you believe that?
Yeah, they made some changes down there, and it's much harder to.
I mean, in the old dimensions, that
play
ball would
offense.
have been. Yeah, that. Yeah. Well, the problem is for the Orioles is that they're not a great hitting team, and their pitchers were just giving up home run after home run, and they finally decided that they need to push back the wall, and then they won't give up so many runs.
Is that their problem? Is that what they thought was going to? Maybe they should get better players and spend money.
Well, yeah, that would probably help.
Did they think of that one or no?
Yeah, I'm sure Trey Mancini isn't all that happy.
Phillies fan 2665 checking us out on YouTube. Alvarez is what Hayward should have been. Talking about Jason Hayward, such a violent swing. I mean, no, that's not really a good comparison in my opinion. Jason Hayward was a Gold Glover.
Hayward was never the hitter that it was never the hitter Alvarez.
Yeah, and Hayward has how many Gold Gloves? Like 4 or 5, I feel like.
Yeah, Alvarez is not Alvarez is, I don't know where he can actually play defensively. I mean, he's not, he's not all that great defensively anywhere. How you doing there, Rob Povia? He just checked in.
Rob Povia, I'm sure they're going to be rocking and rolling on the Hockey Happy Hour tomorrow night.
They certainly will. I had a
Second
lot of
round.
fun last week there.
What's that?
I had a lot of fun with them last week.
Yeah, it was a very good show.
All my predictions were right on. I had a good one though, Rob. I thought that Craig DeBoer, the coach of the Vegas Golden Knights, I thought he was already fired. So I went into this whole rampage about it's about time he got fired, blah, 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 blah. And Rob said to me, he's not fired. He's still the coach. Well, today he got fired, so I was just a week late.
Why does he get fired? I mean, he takes over for an expansion team. He makes the playoffs. All he's done is make the playoffs.
He didn't make – no, the Vegas Golden Knights didn't make the playoffs.
I understand he didn't make it this year, but, I mean –
Gallant was the coach that took him to the playoffs.
Oh, okay. So it's a different coach.
Yeah, DeBoer, when Gallant was let go, DeBoer they brought in DeBoer, and it didn't work out. I mean, I know they had a lot of injuries, but for whatever reason, Vegas really, to be honest with you, needs to bring in a guy like, in my opinion, Alain Vigneault, who's an offensive-minded coach. He's good with older players. They don't have any young players on their team. Terrible with young players, as you saw in Philly.
Yeah, he wasn't a very good coach. But continue with baseball.
Yes.
I mean, are the Rays just really the second best team in the AL East? We talked about Toronto at the top of the show, and they just can't match up with the Yankees. Already losing 6 of the 9 games to the Yankees. I mean, the Yankees have been blowing through everyone. You know, we got the standings up here. I mean, you already have Toronto 7.5 back, and Boston is 12 back. Boston's even worse than the Orioles.
Yes, they are.
Let's talk about Boston first, because they're a train wreck right now. They don't seem interested in talking contract extension with Devers and Bogarts, which leaves the opportunity for them to be traded at the trade deadline, which
I don't think Red Sox fans
hello,
would be
Dave
real happy
Dombrowski.
about
Hello, Alexander Bogarts. Like, let's get that done, please.
Also, what about, I mean, the other guy you have to wonder about is JD Martinez. I think his contract is up. So, you know, he may be going after this year too. He may be traded. I mean, can you imagine they traded all 3 of those guys?
I don't get what they're trying to do. I mean, I'm watching them right now taking on the Houston Astros in Fenway Park, and they got to start piling up some wins, because the wild card's not going to be easy in the American League.
Oh no, you're going to have to win. You're probably going to have to win 92, 93 games.
I mean, the White Sox haven't gotten going yet. The Twins are better than expected.
Right.
The Guardians are better than expected.
The Angels aren't going anywhere.
No, the Angels are really good. They have the second best run differential in the American League at plus 57.
They're good. Houston's good. One of those teams is going to be a wild card. You know, Tampa Bay is going to be a wild card. I mean, can Boston catch Toronto the way they're playing right now?
5.5 back in Toronto the way they're playing right now, no.
Yeah. I mean, Boston's pitching is atrocious right now.
I thought their bullpen was going to be better.
Their bullpen
and Trevor Story has been dreadful.
Well, you know what? That's what happens when you go to an East Coast team. You know, it's not that easy. When you sign for big money with either the Yankees, the Phillies, the Mets, or the Red Sox, guess what? It's not easy, because we're all crazy East Coast fans, and we're mean, we're tough. We don't take any crap, and if you're bad, we're going to let you know it. But then on the other hand, we're good fans, because if you play well, we're always behind you. But if you're stinking, you're going to hear it, especially if you run away like Story did the other day, not take accountability for not being good. That's a real bad thing to do.
Rob Povey disagrees with the poll. Went at full strength. I think it's the Dodgers, unfortunately. Better lineup 1 through 9. Better pitching as a whole. Staff and Penn. I mean, look, the Dodgers, I mean, 21-12. They're at a plus 70 run differential. So there's a case to be made. Obviously, the last 10 games haven't gone great because they lost 3 of 4 to Philadelphia. My Philadelphia Phillies over the weekend. Should have got the 4-game sweep if Janoris Familia didn't stink, Brad. And like
I told you, I warned you guys about him.
Look, the warning signs are all there. Look, I don't understand how you can let a guy like Hector Neres walk, who, I get it. He stinks as a closer. He can't take the heat in the ninth inning. But once you move him to a setup role, he was very good. Now he goes to Houston, and he's very good for them, pitching at an all-star level in the middle innings. And then we bring in Familia, and we try to tell our fans it's an upgrade. Janoris Familia is a disaster. Is a total, utter disaster. It's every time he comes into the baseball game,
Rob,
it's batting practice time.
What did I tell you
ridiculous.
About him? What did I tell you about him?
We don't think we loved him in Philadelphia last year when he was coughing it up for the Mets every day.
He can't throw strikes, and then when he does start throwing strikes, the ball's right down the middle because he has no control to get it to the corners.
And he doesn't throw hard enough to compensate for that.
No, I think Hand has been okay. I think he had one or two.
Hand's been decent, and he's a lefty, so you got to put him in like a whole separate category because you need a couple lefties out there.
Yeah, and if you use him right, then you'll probably be fine. If you just bring him in to pitch to lefties at the end of an inning where he only needs to pitch to one or two batters when there's like two outs, then you're fine.
But like Aaron Nola, I mean, he should have 3 extra wins. I mean, they blew the game on Cinco de Mayo where they're up 8-1, 7-1, whatever it was. They blew another game for him earlier in the season, and they blew yesterday for him. So he should have 3 extra wins. He's been pitching phenomenal. He's answered the bell.
That's why you in baseball you can't really look at won-loss records with these guys. I mean, Jordan Montgomery has been an outstanding pitcher for the New York Yankees the last couple of years. Okay? He never gets any wins. You know why? Because for whatever reason, the Yankees never score when he's pitching. And what's crazy is as soon as he comes out of a game, they start scoring. It's just when he's out there, it's almost like a jinx.
I mean, that's been the story in New York with in Flushing with DeGrom. DeGrom would pitch 8 innings, no runs, and they would lose. Mm-hmm. How bad are the Cincinnati Reds, Brad? How bad are the Cincinnati Reds? So the Cincinnati Reds pitching staff pitched a combined no-hitter yesterday against the Pirates, and they lost the baseball game. How is that even possible?
I mean,
your starters and your bullpen gave up no runs or no hits over 9 innings. No hits.
Because
a combined no-hitter, and you lose the baseball game 1-0.
Well, the problem was that somebody got a walk. Then there was a wild pitch.
I understand what the problem is, but, I mean, what the fuck are you doing?
Listen, the Yankees had a no-hitter in 1986 by Andy Hawkins, okay, against the White Sox, and they lost the game 4-0. Because
so you had no control.
Well,
or they made error, or your boys made errors.
Well, yeah, they committed 3 errors, and Jim Leyritz lost a fly ball in the sun with the bases loaded, and 3 runs scored. Jim Leyritz was a catcher, and they, for whatever reason, they put him in left field that day, and it was a disaster. But it can happen. It's very rare.
There's Tom Arnone. Tom Arnone's in the house busting your balls, Brad. He disagrees with the poll just because you're on, just to break your stones.
That's okay. I'm always breaking his.
But
he knows. I like to break his too. So
because I know you were.
I love Tom. Just so Tom knows. Tom knows. I just like to break his stones when he gets carried away with some of his.
And Tom also congratulated on the. This is like a Brad Ryer tribute night. We're centering our baseball talk around the Yankees because they're killing it, and we're centering our hockey talk around the Rangers because that was a big win for your Rangers, Brad. Down 3-1, you eliminate Sidney Crosby and the Penguins. And it ushers in kind of a new era for the Eastern Conference.
It does, doesn't it? Like the
Brad, just one more. The way that the Penguins are acting on the heels of that defeat, bitching and moaning, like they haven't gotten every call over the past 15 fucking years. with Sidney Crosby to pile up cups. They haven't gotten every break imaginable over the
Well,
past decade in the Stanley Cup playoffs.
Toronto gave them 3 replays, okay, that were all bullshit. They took away a goal in game 1, which the Rangers should have won. Okay, they scored the game-winning goal with 3 minutes to go, and they took the goal away because Kakko ran into the goalie. But meanwhile, what nobody seems to understand is he was shoved into the goalie. Okay, so
what about the other one where the puck never went in with Crosby?
We were on last week. Crosby scored a goal, and I still haven't seen the puck in the net yet. And Toronto gave him that one, and there was no angle that showed that the puck was ever in the net. And then last night, who was it? The guy that was scoring all those goals for them yesterday. He goes and he kicks the puck in the air, and the puck is clearly over the crossbar, and he knocks it down into the net, and they call that a good goal. And the Rangers didn't even complain. They went out, and then a minute later they got the goal right back. See the difference here. Here's the problem with the Penguins, and they're going to hate me for saying this, but you know what? I'm going to say it anyway. You know, Sidney Crosby is such a big crybaby that what has happened is the coach has become Sullivan is now a crybaby, okay, and the whole team is now a bunch of crybabies. So what happens is, you know, with 3 minutes to go in the game, and the Rangers are down 3. Was it 2-1 or 3-2? I can't remember. It was 3-2.
No, it was
3-2, right?
It was 3-2. Are you going to talk about the play where his helmet got ripped off?
Right.
Where all that asshole had to do was bend over and put his helmet back on and continue with the play.
Well, first
instead he skates clear across the ice like a bitch.
No. First, he went to the front of the net to argue with the ref while the play was going on. Instead of just bending down and picking up his helmet, which you were allowed to do, he goes and he starts crying to the ref while the play is going on, and then he decides to get off the ice and have Chris Letang come on the ice, and Letang didn't know who to cover, and bang, 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 the Rangers scored the tying goal. But bottom line is, John Marino had the puck at the time all this was going on, and John Marino went and took the puck and passed it right to Andrew Kopp, who quickly passed it to Zibanejad, and before you could even wink your eye, the puck was in the net. So, hey, you know what? Lafreniere was scuffling with the guy on Pittsburgh. Okay, Lafreniere is just a little tougher than he is, because Pittsburgh, we all know, is soft until they start swinging their sticks. Okay, and he lost his helmet. And you know what? Lafreniere was smart, because when he ripped it off his head, he absolutely did, by the way. But when he ripped the helmet off the guy's head, he was watching the referee, and as soon as the referee turned his back, he pulled the guy's helmet off. Yeah, tough shit.
Yeah, it was a pretty. I mean, for what, a 20-year-old kid, that's a pretty. Like, he made it look good, you know.
Yeah, but we all know it.
He didn't
we know
make it so obvious that he's going to get a penalty or anything.
No,
he just kind of got tangled up, and the guy's helmet came on the ground.
We know what happens. Okay, I mean, I'm a Ranger fan, and I'm telling you, okay, Lafreniere is a lot smarter than people think he is. Okay. He was watching the ref. If you take a look at him, he was watching the ref the whole time. And as soon as the ref turned his back, he yanked off that helmet. He got him in a headlock and pulled the helmet off. Okay, but he didn't make it. He didn't make it look so freaking obvious that they could call a penalty on it. Okay, and you know what? That's too bad. That's the way it goes. Instead of crying about it, instead of just grabbing your helmet and putting it on your head, the guy didn't know the rule, and he starts crying to the referee. And again, they all get these guys all crying to the referee, including Sullivan, the gutless coach. They're all crying to the referee instead of the guy just picking up his helmet, you know. And they get it from Crosby, because that's all he does is cry to the referee, you know. So instead, you're wasting your time. It's like the Chuck Knobloch incident back in 1996 against the Indians. He's arguing a call while the play's going on, and he has his hands on his hip holding the ball. And the Indians score 2 runs while he's holding the ball, arguing with the umpire. I mean, you can't do stupid things like that. This is the playoffs. Okay.
BKL Contreras exactly has a point. That's the way to win the series. Tampa Bay has a really dangerous team. If Tampa Bay Lightning, they're going for 3 straight, he'll hit the wall. So what do we got? We got Tampa and Florida and Carolina and the Rangers. Boy, those are two barn burner series right there.
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. But I mean, as a Ranger fan, I'm hoping obviously that they win. And if the Rangers are going to win, they're going to have to do it in 6. There's no way they're winning a game 7 down there. But my brain and my analyzation skills say probably they're going to lose this series in 5. I mean, they got beat up during the season by this team, so I just don't know what's going to change anything. To be honest with you, that's asking a lot to beat that team.
I mean, the betting odds indicate that it's going to be. This is according to FanDuel. The betting odds, they indicate that it's going to be a really uphill battle for
the Rangers.
For the Rangers, yeah. I think it was like plus 160 when I was looking at it this morning.
Yeah, you're asking a lot to beat that team. That team is a real good team, and they got tons of playoffs.
So yeah, the Hurricanes are minus 162 to win the series. That's a pretty significant favorite. Yes. Rangers plus 134. I mean, I'm not laying 162 on a series bet in the NHL playoffs. Like, that's crazy. So that's a stay away from me. But I think Carolina is going to win.
Yeah, I do too. You're asking an awful lot from a team that this is their first year in the playoffs. They won a very emotional series against the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's going to be tough for them to win that series. I just don't. I don't know. Do I think they could do it?
So, like, do you think the emotion of that comeback and Game 7 overtime, do you think that helps or hurts the Rangers?
I think it hurts for Game 1. That's what I think. By the way, Donaldson just hit a home run off the foul pole, so it's now 3. Oh, that was a 3-run home run. Okay, so it's 4-0 Yankees.
No, the floodgates are opening. My minus 1.5 is looking pretty good.
Yeah, you might, Rob. You might want to pick up Donaldson if he's available in your league.
Well, I gotta put in a waiver claim for him.
Yeah, he's starting to roll now.
Yeah.
He don't forget he was batting 130. Now he's up to over 230 now. So I mean, he's going to hit a lot of home runs, especially in Yankee Stadium. Because he hits a lot of home runs to right field, so and that's where he hit the home run.
So we got baseball on the table. We got hockey. We're talking about the hockey series right now, and we have some NBA things to talk about as well. I haven't gotten your perspective on the Philadelphia 76ers yet. Me and John Coyle went in pretty hard on the entire organization yesterday on the rant booth, and then the Suns they lay an egg as well. In their Game 7 at home, which thank God the Suns aren't in the Northeast quarter because they'd be getting absolutely killed yesterday. And Chris Paul, right on schedule, chokes away another championship opportunity. But we're talking hockey right now. Getting in the Western Conference, Brad, before we do some picks and predictions and prognostications.
Can anybody beat Colorado?
The Flames are going to the Cup. You know, I didn't pick them at the beginning of the playoffs. I didn't pick them at the beginning of the season. But I watched them play Game 7 against Dallas. And Dallas, they're a pesky son of a bitch type of team, the Dallas Stars. They have some talent there. They can skate. They can score. They can do a little bit of everything. But the Flames dominated that series, Game 7.
They thoroughly dominated Game 7. That goalie on Dallas last night was unbelievable.
Stood on his head. The right team won. The Flames get it done in overtime. But, it was 46 shots to 18 shots at one point in the third period. Gaudreau is playing on another level right now. Kachuk is playing very well. They play good defense. They can skate. They can score.
They're also big, and they're big, and they give you no room to play. That team's a tough team. If anybody could beat Colorado, that team could beat Colorado.
So I'm looking at them. I'm looking at them over the Oilers, which that should be a great series. That's a really, really fierce rivalry there in Western Canada. The Flames and the Oilers.
But I think Calgary is a better team.
I mean, Calgary is minus 164.
Calgary's a way better team than Edmonton. They've got way better goaltending. Okay, they don't have Connor McDavid, and they don't have Leon Draisaitl. Okay, fine, but they've still got Matthew Tkachuk, and and obviously Johnny Hockey is on that team. And as you said, he's brought it to a whole new universe as far as how good he is. So, at this point, I think the Flames go through them like a knife through butter. There's no way Edmonton's beating that team, and the fact that their goaltender Markstrom, he was he's in the running for the Vezina. He was nominated for the Vezina Trophy, and Mike Smith. He played well against the Kings Game 7. I'll give you that, but do I think he's
shaky.
Gonna? Yeah, he's
shaky.
always scary. He's not a real good goaltender. He's an old man now. He was good in his prime, but his prime was 10 years ago.
Josh Donaldson did not homer for the Yankees.
It was not Josh Donaldson. It was
Trevino.
It was Trevino. Sorry about that. But Donaldson is hitting the ball though.
But Yankees up 4-0.
Yeah, another example of just everybody is contributing on this team, even guys who don't normally hit. Their catchers.
Yeah, well, people put on these
probably the worst. Their catchers are the worst hitting catchers probably in baseball, but they want to make sure they had good defense behind the plate because we
need good defense up the middle.
Yeah, we all kind of agreed Sanchez had to go because we couldn't take all the pass balls and wild pitches that were going on back there.
There's Roskas in the house talking his hockey. Florida Panthers will eliminate the two-time defending Stanley Cup champion Tampa Bay Lightning. Are we sure about that, Brad? I'm not so sure about that, and I love Florida.
I something? Before you have to beat the champs before you start talking crap about them. That team, the comeback that team made against Toronto was pretty good too. Although I got to be honest with you, Toronto got screwed. They called a phantom interference penalty against Toronto when they went and tied up that game, and that was terrible. That was a terrible call. Like they're calling an interference penalty when basically the guy did a flyby, and they called an interference penalty on him. I forgot who the guy was on Toronto, but he did a flyby and he stops in front of the net, and he was battling with somebody. I can't remember on Tampa Bay, and meanwhile the puck gets passed, and the guy can't get past him, and they score a goal, and they waved it off, and that was a terrible call. That was just a terrible call. You got to feel bad for the Toronto fans for that one because
I don't feel bad for anything Toronto related. They're a bunch of scumbags up there. They have bad fans. They're thug fans.
But Rob, they haven't won the cup in 55 years.
Yeah,
now.
Good. They don't deserve it. The Raptors fans, they're a bunch of losers.
True.
They hurt Joe, and they get chippy when they're about to be eliminated and down by 30.
Well, they're all fighting. They're all fighting. There was like riots inside the building after the game was over.
Shocker! I wonder how all those Philadelphia fans got Toronto Maple Leafs jerseys and went up to Toronto for that Game 7. I wonder how all the Philly fans got tickets.
Yeah, but they weren't fighting. But Rob, they weren't fighting Lightning fans. They were fighting.
They're fighting each other because they're a bunch of losers.
Which is 100,000 times worse. How do you fight your own fan? How do you fight fans that? Why are you fighting with your own fans? What are you nuts?
No, and then Durant tears his Achilles against the Raptors, and their fans cheer. Like they're a bunch of. They deserve nothing up there in Toronto. Absolutely 100% nothing.
Well, they have been tortured by the Leafs the last few years. Be interesting to see what they do in the off season now. Because they've got to obviously do something. They can't keep those guys together. They can't get out of the first round.
Yeah, sucks to suck. Sucks to suck.
It does. It does.
Oh well.
They are the ultimate choke team.
See you, Toronto. Isn't it unbelievable, Brad, that like some teams like the Sixers and some athletes like Chris Paul and the Toronto Maple Leafs, and I'm sure we could pick out a few in baseball as well.
James Harden.
What's that?
James Harden, the Oakland A's.
James Harden, like some teams can get it done when the heat gets turned up, and some guys wilt away. James Harden, Chris Paul, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Oakland Athletics. When the heat gets turned up, they don't want no parts of it.
No,
they don't want any parts of it.
They could never get it done. And Oakland had a pretty good team before they dismantled it.
Yeah, this is what they do. Now they're on the rebuild part, and in 2 years they're going to have great prospects coming up, and they'll be good again.
Right, but they'll find a way to choke again too, because this isn't the 70s anymore.
Because that's not the way you build a team. That's why the Sixers will be forever cursed by Sam Hinkie and the ridiculous process that was perpetrated on the NBA, the city of Philadelphia, and the game of basketball in general.
Well, I heard Daryl Morey today mention.
Oh yeah, he's got all kinds of ideas and all kinds of plans.
They're going to bring in another star. Here's my question, Rob. Where are you guys getting the money to do that?
Daryl Morey, I can't stand the guy.
Listen,
I really can't.
If he could figure out a way to get some money, in the salary cap, that would be great. But doesn't James Harden have the option to re-sign in Philly next year?
Yeah, he has a player option for $47 million. He could opt out, and they could do an extension. I don't know what they're going to do. I don't know what they're going to do. But, yeah, Daryl Morey's all giggles, all rainbows, unicorns, and giggles, telling everybody how he's going to get another star in here. Okay, Daryl, cool.
With what money?
I don't know. I'm so over the Sixers. I'm so beyond over the Philadelphia 76ers. It's the same movie every year. It's Lethal Weapon 5. Next year it'll be Lethal Weapon 6. It's Riggs, it's Murtaugh, it's another little guy sprinkled in, and the bad guys come, and Riggs and Murtaugh looks like they're going to get defeated, but at the very end they shoot and they kill everyone, they beat everyone up, and they win. The only difference between the Sixers is that it's the same ending is
I felt so bad for you guys.
They get gutted like fish, and they look like assholes and scumbags and pigs to their fans, the game of basketball, and the rest of the league in general. I'm so beyond over this stupid process, this stupid team, with this stupid coach, with this stupid general manager, with an incompetent owner, and I'm just over it. Joel Embiid, surprise, surprise, he's never ready to go in the playoffs. When this basketball team needs Joel Embiid the most, Joel Embiid will not be there for this basketball team, this city, and this fan base.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
He just won't be. It's a shame, but that's the facts of the situation.
Yeah, but it wasn't his fault this time, though.
I know. It's never anybody. It's always.
I mean, but it's kind of like Carson Wentz was, Rob. Some similarity. Now, Embiid is one of the great players in the NBA, and he's one of the best centers I've ever seen play basketball. Quite honestly, he's one of the best. He's a fantastic player. But you know what? It's not about that. But with him and Carson Wentz, there is a similarity in that they always seem to get hurt at the wrong time of the season. Every year, whether it's a playoff game or late in the regular season or whatever it is, somebody gets sick, somebody gets hurt. It always seems to happen with him, and it's really a shame because you know what, this guy, he deserves a championship. I mean, you and I have one thing in common about great players. We like to see great players win championships, and if you notice, I never trolled anybody in Philadelphia about the Sixers this year when they lost. I didn't say one word. So you know what? I really felt bad. I felt bad for Embiid because Embiid deserves better. He's out there playing with a broken eye socket because of a cheap shot by somebody in Toronto. And and a torn tendon in his thumb, and he's out there playing, and James Harden is out there, being a dog like he always is.
doing nothing.
Yeah, he just
doing nothing.
He is a dog.
And yeah, he's a total mutt, and he stinks. And,
yeah, and this is what he did with the Nets too last year. His hamstring. It was
in Houston.
With the Nets
he did it in Houston too.
Yeah, it's always something. He's always got something. The shoe always is going to drop with him, and he's always got some stupid excuse. I mean, it amazes me. And hats off to the Celtics, although I can't stand the Celtics.
Yeah, they're gonna win. They're gonna win. I know nobody in Philadelphia wants to hear this, but the Boston Celtics, they're gonna win the championship. They're the best. They're by far the best team remaining. Their roster's totally slaps. They have great coaching. They're just a well-run, finely tuned machine that gets it and has a clue and knows how to win basketball games. Period.
And they didn't even have their center, did they?
No, I think Williams is back.
Williams played the last 2 games, right?
Right, but they've been without him, yes, for some of this playoffs.
Yeah. Look, if the Bucks were completely healthy, I know they were missing.
That's another thing, Brad, because they don't have Middleton, and the Sixers have a diminished Embiid, and the Sixers, everyone around Joel Embiid on the Sixers, they fold up like pigs, and Milwaukee is able to steal Game 5, down 14 with 8 minutes left. They're able to steal Game 5 in Boston, and then they lose Game 6, and they get to 7. They don't roll over and die. No one in Philadelphia would be mad. They'd be disappointed and maybe a little peeved if the Sixers went out there in Game 6 at home and lost a tough, hard-fought game 104-100 or whatever, a close, hard-fought game. Nobody would care. I mean, people would care, but, you don't have this venom and this stigma, this stench around the organization that they're a bunch of losers and they're never going to get it done.
The fact that they got beaten so badly in game, which game was it? Game 5. That was a bit. That was a.
Yeah, they got routed in Game 5, and they got routed in Game 6. And they picked themselves off the mat in Philly in Games 3 and Game 4. Good for them. Lottie fucking da. Doesn't mean anything if you're just going to quit like pigs in Game 6. Listen, Brad. Predicated. This offense is predicated. The Sixers scoring out points on offense is predicated to Joel Embiid and James Harden and the basketball team in general getting to the free throw line. It's been the story. They've been doing it all year. They get all these fouls. 4 free throw attempts in the first half against the Miami Heat. In game 6.
That can't happen. And
Brad,
Spoelstra outcoached Rivers? I mean,
by a mile.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what happened there. And Rivers did a dumb thing when the Sixers were ahead by 30. Embiid should have been out of the game. I mean, he made some really dumb mistakes. I'm really surprised that the Sixers are bringing him back. I like Doc Rivers. He's a former Knick. He played real well when he was with the Knicks. I've always rooted for him, but he really he just made some poor decisions, and I am really surprised they're bringing him back. But I guess they're thinking that it's not his fault that Joel Embiid got hurt, and it is his
Joel
fault.
Embiid gets hurt every year.
Yeah, but he wasn't going to get hurt this year, okay? Until Toronto was down by 30 and they got personally.
But he was hurt, Brad. The thumb and the eye aren't mutually exclusive.
No, I know the thumb was hurt, but I'm just saying. But the eye was.
Yeah, but he wasn't. He played bad because of his thumb. I know he got knocked around a couple times in the Heat series, and he was clearly in pain from his eye. But, my opinion in watching Joel Embiid is that he had diminished performance because of his thumb, not because of his face.
Okay.
Now,
Two tough
I'm just talking
injuries.
about, look, pain tolerance is pain tolerance. And if his face is hurting him that bad, that he played bad, okay, I'll buy that and I'll give him that. But some of the fundamental moves that we've seen him use to score the basketball throughout the season, he couldn't do because of his thumb. And it was clear as day. Let's get to some more comments here. Brother BKL Contreras, I literally not sure what David Roska said. The Lightning are a really dangerous team, and you never underestimate them. These Lightning are really good and hungry for their playoffs. So we were going through the playoffs. There's hopefully that's Alex Bregman.
By the way, they have the Lightning also have by far, it's not even close, by far superior goaltending compared to the Florida Panthers.
Well, Vasilevsky's that dude. It's going to be an interesting series.
Yeah,
it really
it is.
I mean, look, I'm looking at my FanDuel account right here. I'm looking at Tampa Bay plus money, plus 128.
Well, because they don't have home. They don't have home ice, and that's.
I get it, but I think that of all this, I don't think your Rangers are going to beat the Hurricanes. With all due,
you're not hurting my feelings by telling me that.
With all due respect, I think that's
with all due respect. As I said, the Hurricane. I picked the Hurricanes to be in the finals,
and I think the Rangers can. I agree with you with the Hurricanes in 5. The Hurricanes are just. They're just a better hockey team.
So good. They're so good defensively.
And you pointed to the regular season, Brad, which didn't go well for the Rangers. I mean, the Rangers are young.
They're
Rangers are
young.
what?
Listen,
what would you say? The Rangers are a year ahead of schedule
on
this rebuild?
The fact that they won a playoff game, they're absolutely a playoff series. They're definitely a year ahead of schedule. And you know what? The one thing they disproved to us, and we were talking about this last week, was they do have good leadership, and you know what? They don't quit.
I think it was
a very resilient team, and you know you got to give them. We got to give them their props for that. They're right now though that you have guys that are under 23 playing defense, and they've been playing real well. But it's in the NHL, it's not so easy. Got second-year guys going out there and playing.
And I think that, and Brad, I think that it's huge that you get your first playoff series win. While this core is, like you said, super young.
Yeah, exactly.
Because if you go out and you lose to the Penguins in Game 7, there's no shame in that. But it's kind of like, oh, shit, we lost. And then if you go out and lose next year for whatever reason and don't win a playoff series, then you're like, oh, man, then you're the Leafs all of a sudden. And that's not good for a young team.
No.
So for the Rangers, with such a young core, to get that monkey off their back of winning a playoff series, I think it's really big, but I do think the Hurricanes are a lot better, and they're going to win this series.
Well, Rob, they've got playoff experience. That's number one. Number two, it's horrific defensive team, especially at home. They're very hard to score against. They don't have great goaltending. I don't even know if Frederick Anderson is how healthy he is right now. I've never particularly liked him either. But
wasn't he on the Leafs?
Yeah, he always choked with the Leafs. But the Hurricanes are a different team. They're so good defensive. The Leafs have never been good defensively. That's always been their problem. Okay, but right now that team is just so good defensively, especially at home. It's going to be tough. Boston couldn't win. Boston couldn't get a sniff at them in Carolina, and Carolina is a fake hockey has fake hockey fans. Okay, those games aren't even sold out yet. Do you know what the price of the tickets start at in Carolina? I was reading this today.
$20.
$99 for the second round of the playoffs. You know what the Rangers tickets cost in the second round of the playoffs? $300.
I mean,
I know it's New York. I know it's New York, but still. The whole thing is that in Carolina, if they tried to charge that much, nobody would come.
I mean, it seems like they have trouble getting fans anyway.
Yeah, they don't ever sell out. They're constantly trying to sell tickets on their telecasts. So, but the thing is, they're just comfortable at home. Brind'Amour is an outstanding coach, and when he gets the matchup, when he gets the home ice advantage in the home ice matchup, he's just very, very tough to outcoach, and they're going to have a tough time. The Rangers. I don't know that they can beat that team. I really, I'm thinking they're going to lose in 5. Now, the arrogant Ranger fan inside me wants to say Rangers in 6. They're going to find a way to win. But I've always tried to be creditable with my predictions and not be a homer. And I can't see the Rangers beating this team. I mean, if they do, I'm going to be behind them all the way. I'll be watching all the games, but will I be disappointed if they lose to this team? That they lose to the Hurricanes in the second round of the playoffs? No way, man. They beat Pittsburgh. Okay, they basically, most of these guys never had any playoff experience. The only one that really had playoff experience on this team was Kreider, and they managed to beat the Pittsburgh Penguins. And by the way, Sidney Crosby. And if you read some of the things I said yesterday on Facebook, I said I wanted Crosby in there. I wanted Jarry in there because I don't want to hear any excuses when the Rangers beat them. Because then you'd have to spend all summer saying, oh, well, they didn't have Crosby in Game 7, so the Penguins would have definitely won. Well, they had him, so no excuses anymore.
Dylan Ushler, our resident Calgary fan. Not sure where he's from. Dylan, where are you from? Are you from Calgary? Because I see you're commenting about Morey and the Sixers, too. So I don't know if he just likes the Flames and likes the other Philadelphia team or what's going on.
Well, I can tell you why I'm a Flame fan, Rob. It's my second favorite team in the NHL. My father grew up there in Calgary. That's where he was from.
There you go.
So, I mean, obviously, and it's funny. I actually had a dream about him, and last night I was watching the Calgary game, and with 8 minutes to go, I had to turn it off because I couldn't stay awake. About 12:30 at night, I was dreaming, and my father was smiling at me, and then I woke up. And I checked my phone, and the Flames won in overtime. And I was like, seriously? Isn't that kind of a weird?
He let you know. He let you know the Flames won.
Yeah. So, yeah, and I mean, he always loved Calgary, so.
Dylan Ushler, what's going on, guys? Agree to the poll. So he does think the Yankees are the best team in baseball, and he's very happy with his Flames. And then there he is. He lives in Philly. He's a 3-for-4 guy for sports. Iginla was the reason I became a fan growing up. I mean, look, whatever. That's fine because you're not missing dick nothing when it comes to the Philadelphia Flyers these days. They stink, and they're going to stink next year. They're going to stink the year after that. And they're going to stink every year for the foreseeable future. Once again, because they're poorly run, Brad.
If the Flyers are smart, then
they're not.
Stink next year. Stink as much as you possibly can, and get that guy and draft that guy Bedard. He's going to be the next Austin Matthews.
But I mean, Dylan, I'm right there with you with your Flames, buddy. I mean, they dominate. I mean, the Stars were a pain in the ass. They have Seguin, they have Ben, they have Robertson. Their goalie played out of their mind. They hung in there. The Flames constantly applying pressure. They end up getting the win in overtime at home, and I think they take care of the Oilers rather easily, Brad.
Yeah, they're gonna kill the Oilers. They're a much better team, and and if the Oilers try anything dirty, they're gonna have to deal with Milan Lucic, and I don't think anybody in the Oilers is gonna really want to do that because Milan Lucic would kick anybody's butt on that team. So they're gonna have to play it straight up. And there is no way in God's green earth that team is going to beat the Flames. Not happening, guys.
Ushler,
Empire Sports, by the way, wants to know about Aaron Boone and so far, and do you believe Joe Girardi is on the hot seat in Philly?
Look, I was mad as hell at Joe Girardi, and I think I fired Joe Girardi. I think I fired Joe Girardi about once a week, at least once a week for the past year and a half. And that's just what we do here in Philly. We fire guys before they can even get back to the locker room. Bunch of guys here that do shows at A2D are guilty of the same thing. Two of them are coming up next on the flight zone. And Jimmy and Evan
constantly to fire Boone. I know how many times have I fired Boone?
So Joe Girardi, no. I mean, you take 2 of 3 in Seattle and 3 of 4 in LA. Now you're off the hot seat, right? You win games and you're off the hot seat. They're starting to hit more consistently.
And remember, it's only May.
It's only May. It's mid-May. It's not Memorial Day yet. Mets starting to come back to earth here a little bit. So no, I would say right now,
by the way, McGill.
at 8:38, Blue City Empire Sports at 8:38 on March 16th, Joe Girardi is not on the hot seat in Philadelphia. That could change at 8:39, and that could change tomorrow. But as of right now, Joe Girardi is not on the hot seat.
No. And Aaron Boone so far has been a pretty good manager this year. But, I got to say,
look, the Phillies got to figure out this bullpen because the starting pitching has been a pleasant surprise. Nola's been terrific. Kyle Gibson's been good. Wheeler had a little bit of a slow start there, but he's starting to level off and give you some really good innings.
He was a little behind.
Yeah, he was sick, non-COVID sick in spring training, and everyone's working with a shorter spring training. So, I mean, Wheeler's going to be fine. You're 5.5 back of the Mets, 17 and 18, so you're a game below 500.
The Mets are starting to come back to earth. The Mets are a good team. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to poo-poo the Mets, but they're probably like an 86 to 88 win team this year, especially without DeGrom. If DeGrom's not going to play, they're not much more than 86 to 88 wins. And I think the Phillies can do that. I think the Phillies are good enough this year. And with all my teasing of Tom Arnone all the time, Tom, I do think the Phillies are going to win 90 games, and I think that's enough to get to the playoffs. So,
I mean, from your mouth to God's ears, you got to get someone in here that Knebel's been okay at the back end. Alvarado is what he is. He's okay. He's pretty good. Bad. But I mean, Hand has actually been the lefty has been good. I mean, look, I think it was Saturday night. Nick Nelson came in, and this other guy that has been having a rough go of it came in. I forget who the other guy was on Saturday.
Familia?
No, he's a disaster. Janoris Familia is a disaster.
Northwood or something like that?
That's it. Yeah, Norwood and Nick Nelson. I mean, they combined they held the Dodgers at bay for 3 innings.
They did? Wait, Nick Nelson?
I think it was Saturday. Yeah, they pitched really well.
Nick Nelson
really well.
Now, are we sure we're talking about the same Nick Nelson? Used to pitch for the Yankees. That every time I'm
pretty sure it was Saturday night, the game they won 8-3. Because the first two games they had leads, they blew it, but then they were able to still win the game.
Oh, yeah.
But that's what they did last year. They would the Phillies would blow all these saves. The bullpen would blow all these saves for the bullpen, but they would really, for the most part, not result in losses. So they would rebound. And that's what happened the first 2 games of the Dodgers series. There's a wild pitch there at Fenway Park. Boston takes the lead 2-1 over the Houston Astros. Yankees up 4-1. Toronto up 2-0.
Tampa Bay's losing 2-1 to Detroit.
Detroit, and the Cubs are up 8-0 over the Pirates. But, I mean, Dave Dombrowski's really got to get something going here with this bullpen. Because as constructed, it stinks. And for the life of me, I don't understand why Hector Neris isn't on this baseball team. You ditched Hector Neris because he was bad as a closer, couldn't take the heat in the 9th inning. He was pretty good as a setup guy, a middle innings guy. And now he's putting up all-star caliber numbers on one of the best teams in baseball, the Houston Astros, and you have Janoris Familia going out there. I mean, this guy's a disaster every time he takes the mound. A complete and utter disaster. So that's a huge misstep by Dave Dombrowski. Huge.
Now, I don't know what as far as Familia is concerned, I don't know what he was thinking about with Familia. I mean, we as a Yankee fan, okay, every once in a while I would turn the Mets on. Every time I saw that guy come in a game, he'd be walking people and then giving up home runs. And then I went to a Met game last year with a couple of my friends, and as soon as Familia came in, they were screaming and kicking and getting all obnoxiously rude, and I was like, is he really that bad? And they're like, you just watch. You know, then a walk and a home run later, I was like, oh, okay, I get it now.
But
Last year, what were they? What did the Phillies see in him? I mean, I don't know if they saw Nick
I have
Nelson.
no
either,
idea.
at least Nick Nelson is young and does throw. I mean, just for the record, he does throw hard. He's got a very good fastball. He just,
Look, Nick Nelson is what he is. Sometimes he comes in and does good, and sometimes he comes in and spits the bit.
Rob, I just remember him giving up 10 runs against you guys in a game during the COVID
season. That's not fair. You judge him off of one outing. And then I'll let you answer Blue City Empire Sports question about Aaron Boone. Obviously, 25-9. I assume the Aaron Boone.
There's no
Crusade is not.
There's no fire watch on Aaron Boone right now. Okay, the only thing we worry about right now with Boone is Aaron. It's all going to be about the playoffs this year. We know it's a foregone conclusion. You're probably going to win the division. You most certainly will be a wild card team. So right now it's about the playoffs. So no, there will be no judgments again with Aaron Boone until after the playoffs, because he's got this team rolling right now. So there's nothing bad I can say about him yet this year.
Dylan Ushler. Neris was a disaster as a closer. 8th inning guy who was solid. Alvarado is still my favorite bullpen pitcher. I couldn't stand Archie Bradley. Absolutely awful. I mean, a lot of smart stuff there by Dylan. Alvarado's okay. Archie Bradley stunk, and Neris couldn't close, but he could be a setup guy. He's way better than Janoris Familia.
Rob, some guys cannot close. I mean, remember Dylan Betances when he was with the Yankees?
Yeah, he was awful.
He as a closer, he couldn't get anybody out.
No.
But when he came into the 8th inning,
he was great.
I mean, when he came into the 9th inning to close, he couldn't find home plate, and when he'd come into the 8th inning, he'd strike out the side. I mean, there are just some guys that can't do it. It takes a different breed of pitcher to be able to close games. Some guys can do it and some guys can't.
Some other comments. Hector Nervous. Yeah, he was Hector Nervous as closer. That's correct. Dylan. Nervous Neres, we used to call him at my house. Brother BK Alcantara. I have a feeling that they fired Joe Girardi in the Yankees, but when I look at Boone, he's looking great. So, I mean, yeah, Girardi. Is Girardi better than Boone? Do you like him better than Boone?
Yes.
You don't like Aaron Boone at all?
No. I can't stand Aaron Boone, but you know what? If the Yankees are going to be 25-9 and looking like they're on their way to 26-9, I really sound like a horse's ass to start complaining about Boone right now. So, as I said, I'm reserving my opinion on Boone for the playoffs.
All right, let's get our hockey prediction. So it sounds like we're in line. I think we both like the looks like Jake Odorizzi fell off the mound here at Fenway Park and had a Mike Soroka serious knee, serious ankle, serious.
Are you serious?
Something kind of injury. Yeah, they got the stretcher out. They're loading him on the stretcher.
What channel is it on?
I have it's the MLB. It's the Monday Night Showcase on MLB Network.
All right, let me get that. Let me turn that on for a minute.
So hopefully he's okay. I mean, he's not okay. I mean, he's getting stretchered off. I don't know if he broke his leg or.
Well, that's terrible.
He fell off the mound, Brad. It reminded me of Mike Soroka.
Oh, that was ugly.
Something's bad.
Okay, I have it on Nesson. Oh, my God.
Yeah, so they're hauling him off. I guess I'll drop him off my old fantasy teams.
Well, you know what, to his credit, he looks very dejected right now.
Well, yeah, he just fucked up his leg. He probably tore his Achilles or something.
Oh God, that's a shame.
Well, that
Well,
makes
the
it
Red
easy.
Sox
Now I
fans,
know who
are
I'm
showing
gonna.
the Red Sox fans, unlike Toronto fans, are showing some class right now by.
Oh, he would get cheered. His injury would be cheered in Toronto. They're a bunch
Well,
of losers up there.
they're giving him a standing ovation as he's being hauled off the field, and I like to see that.
Dylan Ushler, my fandom says Flames in 5, but I want to respect the unpredictability of the playoffs. Flames in 7. The rest I have Canes in 6, Avs in 5, Panthers in 7. I've been on the Florida Panther bandwagon for since they got G. Really?
Oh, I've been on their bandwagon. I've been on their bandwagon all season because every time I turned on one of their games, they were scoring.
That series is going to be a barn burner.
Budgets.
Dylan likes the Panthers in 7.
Yeah, I think I would give it 7. There's Tampa Bay. You're going to have to put a knife through their hearts to put them away.
Well, have you seen Vasilevsky's stats after a loss in the playoffs?
He never loses 2 in a row.
He's like 10-1 with like a 187 goals against. 98. It's ridiculous.
He's the best goalie in the world. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. You know, and he's got tons of playoff experience. That whole team has tons of playoff.
Because Florida has home ice. Is it going to be one of these series that just the home team wins every time?
You know what? That's what I'm looking at with that.
Because it's so hard to beat Tampa Bay twice in a row.
It's also very hard to beat Tampa Bay in Tampa Bay. They're very good at home.
Who has home ice? Florida, right?
Florida this year, there was a big contrast in their home and road. They were not nearly as good on the road as they were at home. At home, they were scoring probably. I would bet they. You know what?
I want G to win so bad, but my gut is telling me that Tampa Bay finds a way. So I'm going Tampa in 6. I'm going Carolina in 6. Flames in 5. And what's the other one? The Avalanche and the Blues.
That's going to end quickly.
I just don't think the Blues.
The Blues have no shot. That's going to be 4 and out.
Well, what do you make of? Because all these series went 6 or 7 games, except the Avalanche and Nashville series, where it was a massacre from start to finish. The Colorado Avalanche got an easy sweep.
They're gonna annihilate the Blues. The Blues have no shot in that series. They have no answers for the Avalanche. They can't score as much.
Is Landeskog playing yet?
Yeah.
So they're at full strength. So I mean, I'll pick Colorado in 5.
Yeah, I'm gonna take Colorado. I think they sweep them, and I think Boston. I think Florida and Tampa Bay. You know what? I'm gonna go with Tampa Bay.
Well, what's more likely to happen? Tampa Bay winning in Florida or Florida winning in Tampa Bay? Tampa Bay's really good at home.
Yeah, I know, but so is Florida. I think it's more likely that Florida can win a game in Tampa Bay. But I'm just going to go in the fact that Tampa Bay has the hearts of lions, and I don't trust Florida to win a series. They had way too much trouble with the Capitals, who really, I mean, the Capitals had a chance to put that series away, and the Capitals should have won that series in 6, and instead they blew that series. I mean,
yeah, and then Nashville did lose their goalie before that series.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, they lost Saros, but it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter with the Blues either. The Blues aren't that good. I'm sorry. I know they won the cup a couple of years ago, but they don't match up with. That's a terrible matchup for them. Against Colorado. Colorado is just they're a machine this year. You know, and they did nothing but strengthen their team with the trade deadline. I think Colorado's gonna kill them. I think maybe games 3 and games 4 in St. Louis, they'll be close games, hopefully. And listen, I think Louis beats them. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think they're going to even win the game. The Rangers, I think, are going to lose in 5 to Carolina. It breaks my heart to say that, and I hope, the Ranger fan in me says Rangers in 6, but the reality gene in my body says Carolina in 5. They're just too good defensively, and the Rangers, as good as Igor Shesterkin is, they just got beat by Carolina this year. They lost 3 out of 4, and the only game they won was because Georgiev played an unbelievable game and stole a 1-0 win. Other than that, the Rangers just couldn't beat that team. They couldn't. When that team turns it on, the Rangers had no answers, and I don't see anything different happening this time.
So that's our Stanley Cup talk. We'll get back to baseball. Brad, the Angels are for real. That's probably the biggest team outside of the Yankees.
They are good. They can hit. And Ohtani's got a little help out there with Noah Syndergaard. Noah Syndergaard has been absolutely brilliant so far this season. They're going to be tough. They're getting some pitching. They got a pretty good bullpen now, and boy, those 3 in the middle of that lineup, Trout and
Trout's an MVP candidate. Rendon is playing well. Ohtani's playing well.
Ohtani is Ohtani.
And then you got all these young guys like Tyler Ward and Brandon Marsh and Jared Walsh that are pulling their weight around, and you have Iglesias at the back end of the bullpen.
Yep,
who's been very good. That's probably the biggest surprise, at least in the American League. I don't really have a surprise in the National League.
I think I'm surprised at how bad the Reds are.
Yeah, but they weren't picked to do anything. I mean, they're 9-26. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the show. Like
they're talentless.
They combined for a no-hitter yesterday and somehow lost the game 1-0. Like that just means you suck.
Well, let me ask you this.
It means you suck at life and you should quit.
Milwaukee, are you a little surprised at that?
I mean, a little bit, but I mean they were able to pick up Rowdy Tellez from the Toronto Blue Jays last season, and he's done nothing but hit for them. And Yelich looks.
The Blue Jays but the Blue Jays, in all fairness, you can't criticize the Blue Jays for letting them go. Where are you going to play him?
I get it, but I mean, this guy is. Look, we all know the Brewers pitching and the Brewers bullpen and the Brewers starters is awesome, but I was concerned about the Brewers being able to score runs consistently before the season. And Rowdy Tellez.
Now that Yelich is not on my fantasy team, because obviously it was me that was jinxing Yelich last year.
Well, his back's healthy. So how about you guys? He's tied for the major league all-time lead in cycles with 3.
Rob, his back just let down because he was carrying my fantasy team last year.
He's got 3 cycles. All 3 of his cycles, Brad, are against the Reds.
Yeah, that's pretty bizarre. But Yelich is back to being Yelich again, and if Yelich is going to be him, and he's going to get a little help offensively from some of the other guys on that team, they're going to be tough because of their pitching.
But how about teams like the Pirates in the National League, 15-19, like showing some heart, 4 games back in the wild card? They're not going to last because their run differential's really bad. And then you have, Arizona and Colorado are right there in the wild card too.
Arizona has really surprised me because I was not expecting that at all from them. They were hideous last year.
They were really
Colorado,
bad.
At least I mean their hitting is okay. Their pitching's been a little better than normal though. Colorado.
Look, I like them. Arizona, I was at the Cardinals game in St. Louis, and they played the Diamondbacks, and they had a decent little lineup. Their bullpen was dreadful. They eventually came in and blew it in the late innings against the Cardinals. But Ketel Marte is going to get going. Dalton Varsho, he looks like a decent player. So, I mean, it looks like there's some surprises. There's some surprising starts here in the National League that I'm interested to see where they go. Colorado just has no pitching.
No.
I mean, they're 17-7 with their 3-7 in their last 10. We'll see how they develop here. And then you have the Braves scuffling again out of the gate. And the Marlins, I thought they would be a little bit better. They're 15-19.
So the Marlins just need more hitting. I mean, they don't have enough bats in their lineup. I mean, they have an outstanding young pitching staff that anybody would die for, but they don't have the money, I guess, to go out and bring in a couple of hitters on that team because they really could use one.
The Detroit Tigers, we both kind of thought that maybe, just maybe, they could, make a jump this year. Not so fast. They have the worst record in the American League. Sorry, Don 19. I guess it's just another year of misery there in Detroit until they get their young guys going a little bit.
We're very disappointed in that team. That team has shown us nothing this year.
I mean, I thought the Royals were going to be better too. I mean, the Guardians are better than I thought too. They have guys like Josh Naylor and obviously Jose Ramirez. Tristan McKenzie is doing well.
The Asian kid that plays center field is pretty good.
Stephen Kwan, yeah, he's pretty good.
He's pretty good too.
He's an on-base machine, so they're better than I thought. The White Sox haven't gotten going yet. And Boston, Kansas City, and Detroit are just dreadful. They're just absolutely dreadful baseball teams.
I do think Boston is.
They gotta have a run in them.
Yeah, you would think so.
The story of their season is the Boston Red Sox bullpen. They just showed a graphic of it. It's been absolutely horrible. They've had to shift a guy who was good in the bullpen last year, Garrett Whitlock. He started the baseball game tonight. But here they are again. They're up 2-1 in the bullpen. They're about to give it up. Bases are loaded here in the top of the sixth. Yuli Gurriel's up, and we'll see if Diekman can get him out of it. They're going to have to get some pitching at some point, especially in that division.
Diekman has been particularly terrible this year.
Look, that's going to be a tie game. Sack fly to center field, so it's 2-2 at Fenway. And yes, Diekman has been horrible. Yeah. But don't you? And I don't know what they're doing with their stars in terms of negotiating contracts for them. So they don't seem to be interested in paying Devers or Bogarts. And you just traded Mookie Betts to the Dodgers because you didn't want to pay him.
Chaim Bloom doesn't want to spend any money with Boston. I mean, I don't know if that's from John Henry or it's him. I don't know what it is with Boston, but all of a sudden, they cheaped out and got rid of Mookie Betts, which to me was ridiculously stupid. They could have afforded him, and I don't get what the deal is with them with their shortstop and their third baseman. It's ridiculous. And then you're paying all this money to Nathan Eovaldi, who's okay, but $17 million a year, and Sale, who never pitches because he's always hurt. And they let Eduardo Rodriguez go, which I think was a mistake. I think he just had a bad year last year. So I don't know what they're doing. It's really strange what they're doing in Boston. It just doesn't. Their minor league team hasn't been all that good either. It's not like they have a bunch. Like their minor league system is loaded with stars. I mean, like the Orioles. One of these years, the Orioles are gonna, when they start bringing up their kids, they're gonna be good again because they got a lot of good young talent in their farm system. But the Red Sox, I mean, if they don't re-sign these guys, their farm system is basically barren because all the trades they made to try to win the last.
What do they got? They got that shortstop in their system, right? Who's all that?
Yeah,
supposedly.
but they have a shortstop who's all that right now in the major leagues.
I get it.
I mean, they have maybe the
Michael
best.
Mayer, I think his name is.
Yeah, they're the Red Sox shortstop position is so locked up.
It should be, yeah, but I mean,
You would think. I mean, I don't get it. It makes zero sense to me. They have money. I don't know why they're not spending on them. And what's going to go on with JD Martinez? Is he going to be gone after the season? I think his
they're
contract.
paying him a lot of money though, right?
Yeah, they're paying him $25 million, but his contract's up after this year. So why not get out? Why not get out the start taking out the cash and undoing the rubber bands and get the cash out and start paying the guy.
Yeah, they got Marcelo Meyer. He's the number 14 prospect at shortstop, according to according to MLB.com, top 100 prospects. I mean, he's only an A ball though. He's 19 in A ball.
That's a long way from the majors, though.
Long way from the majors. Correct, you are. So I don't know what they're doing. All right, let's get your thoughts on the NBA. Brad, before we get out of here, Flight Zone coming up in a few minutes here on A2D Radio. Our poll question yesterday on the rant booth was, should Doc Rivers return as the Sixers head coach? I said no. What are your thoughts on this basketball team? Because you're a Knicks fan. You don't really like Philadelphia. You don't really like the Sixers. So I'm interested to get an outside perspective on.
Well, first of all, I never bashed the Sixers.
No, you don't bash the Sixers. No,
I don't ever, because you know what? To me, they're a real good team, and nothing any of you guys say isn't true about them. They have some superior players on this team. I don't get it. It's always something every year with them. I just hope for Embiid's sake, as I've said before, I like to see great players win championships, because if they don't, then they're always going to get put down for it, even if it's not their fault. And Embiid, I mean, the window, how many more years can he play at this level with his knees and everything? I mean, maybe 2-3 more years. Sixers better start getting it moving and bringing the right guys for him. I mean,
I think you have like a 3-year window.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
3-year window from March 16th, which is today. So you got 3 years. So it's March 16th, 2022, or May 16th. You have till May 16th, 2025, maybe 2026.
When is his contract up with Philadelphia?
They just re-upped.
Okay, so
last year. So I guess he's got 4 left.
Okay, so he's going to be there a while. But I just don't get it with that. I mean, Harden was and can be and is a guy who can play point guard and not necessarily have to score. I mean, you got Maxey who can score at any time, and I just don't get it. I just don't get it with that team. That team has, well, you know what? In the offseason, I know they traded all their depth to go all in with Harden. You know what? In the offseason, I think they'll go in and they'll get some veterans. At the NBA minimum, they'll get some of those.
Do you think that this franchise with Joel Embiid and James Harden, Tobias Harris, and Doc Rivers, do you think that's an attractive landing spot to the point where guys chasing rings are going to take pay cuts to come to the Sixers like they did with LeBron and other teams and Kobe in the past? Because I don't see that happening at all. Joel Embiid's a top 5 player in the league, but
I disagree with you about that. The Sixers are a real good team. I mean, I wish the Knicks had the players they had. I mean, they're a real good team. They've got plenty of talent. I mean, just something seems to go wrong with them, and it's always a crucial injury or somebody being sick or something stupid that just keeps happening to them. I mean, they've got all the talent in the world. I just think that they need they this year they were lacking off the bench. They traded way too many guys for Harden.
Well, yeah,
Okay.
and I've said this how many times. Whenever we look in Anthony Davis is disgruntled, Odell Beckham Jr. is disgruntled. The longer you wait with these jabronis to let him sit around and stew and cause trouble, the less you're going to get. So I'm still very critical of Daryl Morey that he sat on the Ben Simmons situation. He waited way too long to trade him, and it cost you Drummond and Curry.
Yeah, I think that really, really, really hurt the Sixers. I just think that they needed they needed a little bit more on the bench. But do I think the guys want to take a little less money to go there? Yeah, why not? They're going to be They're going to be They're going to be contenders for the next 3-4 years. They're going to be championship contenders. The window.
But there's so much competition out there. Like, would you, if you're an aging player chasing a ring, like, are you signing with the Warriors or are you signing with the Sixers? Are you signing with the Memphis Grizzlies or are you signing with the Sixers? Are you signing with the Minnesota Wolves or are you signing with the Sixers? Are you signing with the Sixers?
I'm signing with the Sixers. I think you have Joel Embiid. You have a dominant center.
But don't you understand that the stigma around Joel Embiid right now, especially here in Philadelphia and especially with me, is that if you come and take a pay cut to pay with Joel Embiid, chances are when you need him the most, he's going to be sick, hurt, out of shape, and not at his very best when you need him the most.
Well, I don't think you can blame him this year. This year, I give him a mulligan.
But, I'm not blaming him, but, for me to sit here and ignore the fact that Joel Embiid is never at his MVP self, his very, very best, in the playoffs when this franchise needs him the most, and to pretend that's not a thing and not a reason why the Sixers aren't playing basketball against the Boston Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals, I think that's an asinine statement to make. And yes, James Harden's a pig and stinks. And yes, Doc Rivers is a pig and can't coach and is over the hill. Yes, I think Daryl Morey is an extremely overrated general manager. Yes, I think Joshua Harris is a poor owner. So, I get it. There's a lot of blame to go around. There's a lot of stink to go around. A lot of blame to go around. A lot of fingers to point. But it's not just you can't just look at one area of ineptitude with the Sixers and give it a pass and be like, nah, it's this guy's fault. It's not that guy's fault. It's everybody's fault.
It is listen, it's the whole team's fault. But as I said before,
look, if Ben Simmons
get them a couple of guys that can come in off the bench, and they'll be fine. They're really close, Rob. They've had some.
How can you say they're really close when they haven't been to an Eastern Conference Finals since 2001?
Look, and you got arguably the best player in the league. It's definitely the best center in the NBA. In Embiid, we've got to figure out a way that he is healthy in the playoffs and stays healthy. Okay, and they've got to find another guy who can go inside and take some punishment, so it's not always on Joel Embiid. I think that's something that's important. They need a power forward who's going to go down in there, and take a beating so that he doesn't have to always take the beating all the time. They just have to change the structure of their offense a little bit, and I think they can do it. And they just need the right player. They need a power forward who can score and be big and strong and tough. Now, who that is, I don't know the NBA well enough.
I mean, I have a list of guys right here.
I mean, I don't know the NBA well enough to sit here and mention.
I watched this team play perimeter defense, and this team's perimeter defense needs to get better. It just has to get better. They don't play good enough perimeter defense. They also don't rebound the basketball as a team good enough. So those are my two weaknesses that I'm trying to address.
They've got to find themselves a power forward. What about Julius Randle?
I mean, you would have to trade for him, correct?
I think the Knicks would be more than happy.
What's it take to get me Julius Randle?
Probably not all that much. They want to get rid of his money.
But we're paying we have Harden, we have Embiid, we have Harris. All these guys are making big money.
Right. Well, the Knicks have He's making $25 million a year. He signed that extension for 4 years. For 4 years, last year.
Yeah, I get it. But I'm not giving you Tobias Harris for Julius Randle. I'm keeping Tobias. I think Tobias is better than Julius Randle.
You sure?
No, but that's what I'm going with right now.
Okay, because one thing Randle can do is he can rebound and he can score. And I do think he wants to win. I think he got real frustrated last year.
But that doesn't tip the scale. Oh my gosh, we got Julius Randle for Tobias Harris. Now we're going to the Eastern Conference Finals. That move doesn't do that for me at all.
Suppose instead of Tobias Harris, suppose the Knicks are trying to get a couple of young players. I don't know your roster well enough to know if you have a couple of real promising young players on your team.
I mean, Maxey is not getting moved for Julius Randle.
The Knicks don't have anybody they don't have anybody to trade you for Maxey, so that's not going to happen. Okay, we would have to. I mean, they would have to give you R.J. Barrett for him, and they're not going to do that. And I don't know that the Sixers would trade him for R.J. Barrett either. I don't know that moves the scale either way.
Looking at these free agents, a guy like Gary Harris. He's going to be a free agent. Plays excellent defense. That's a guy I want to see here in Philadelphia. Montrezl Harrell. He was on Charlotte. He's a power forward. That's the kind of guy I need the Sixers to get.
Well, what about a guy like Brunson?
Is he a free agent on Dallas?
He's a restricted free agent, and there's no way Dallas is going to be able to afford to keep him.
I mean, I guess. I mean, Colin Sexton's a restricted free agent. That does a little bit for me.
He's a point guard.
Kyle Anderson, that's a good name. I think he's an unrestricted free agent. He was on the Grizzlies last year.
Well, do you think the Phoenix Suns are going to make some changes now that they've?
Talk about having egg on your face. 123 to 90. What's that? 33 points you lose by on your home floor.
That's only 33 points.
Holy smokes. What do I always tell you about Chris Paul? What do I always tell you? The guy's a dog. The guy's a mutt. The guy couldn't win a game of checkers if it was for any type of significance. He's never won a damn thing in his life. Okay?
It's hard it's hard to believe how bad a first half he had last night. What do you have? 1 point in the first half? 1 point, 2 assists. And
1 point, 2 assists, 0 for 4 in the first half. Game 7 at home. No call, no show. Devin Booker, no call, no show. DeAndre Ayton, no call, no show. And then you have Cameron Payne, backup point guard for the Suns, bitching and moaning to the media how everyone was hurt. Chris Paul has a quad. Devin Booker has a hamstring. DeAndre Ayton's got his ailments. Cry me a river. Nobody cares about that. You're the 1 seed. You're playing a team you're better than at home, and you get routed. It's the same thing I said with the Sixers. If they went out there and tried their best and lost a tough, hard-fought game to the Dallas Mavericks, who have a really good roster, by the way, and Luka Doncic is a stud, no one's criticizing you today. I'm still going to criticize Chris Paul because I can't stand Chris Paul. The love that he gets to be a top 5 point guard of all time, I just think it's completely laughable. Chris Paul is not a top 5 point guard of all time.
He's a great regular season player. That's it. That's not a good legacy to have. Okay, you got to win some. You got to be good in the playoffs. It's unbelievable how bad he is.
Well, I don't know what you do in Phoenix because they have a good team. Well, they're going to have to make a decision on DeAndre Ayton because I don't think they're going to pay DeAndre Ayton.
What about Bridges? Are they going to what are they doing with that?
They're going to keep him. So I don't know what they're going to do, if they're going to get another guard in there instead of re-signing Ayton, because Ayton's going to get big money from someone. He's a really good center. Whether he gets the max or not, I'm not sure. But Yeah, I think the Suns are going to look a little different next year. I do.
Yeah, they're gonna have to. They're gonna have to make some moves.
Don 19, he wants DeAndre Ayton in Detroit. That'd be a good signing. I like what Detroit's doing. A lot. Cade Cunningham's a beast.
They're putting some nice pieces together. They still got a couple of years before
They have Jeremy Grant, Sadiq Bey. If they keep picking like they've been picking, Sadiq Bey, they signed Jeremy Grant. They pick Cade Cunningham. Like if you get Ayton in the mix there, like that's a good pick. There's Dylan Ushler, Lonnie Walker, and Kevin Knox would add depth. But yeah, that's like the kind of guys that we need here in Philadelphia. We need glue guys because Harden and Embiid and Maxey and Tobias are going to be the main ingredients that are going to need to take this Sixers basketball team to the next level.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Sixers need a couple of guys that can come in off the bench and provide them with instant offense, or a guy who can just play defense and get some rebounds in a big spot for them. That's what they need. They were sorely lacking on the bench because they gave up too many bench players in that trade with Harden. That was the problem.
Mitchell Robinson's a name being brought up in the chat. Potential trade.
What are you going to do with him? Where are you going to put him?
He'd be a backup center.
He's not going to go somewhere to be a backup center.
Is he a free agent, Brad?
Yep.
So he's going to get big money to start somewhere. You think
he's going to want to get paid.
I don't care what he wants. What's he going to get?
That I don't know.
Everybody wants.
That's a big decision.
Brad, everyone's the hero of their own story. So I don't give a shit what these baby prima donna idiot NBA players want. I care about what they're going to get. Realistically,
well, it's not necessarily what he's going to get. He's going to want to start. He's not going to want to come in off the bench.
Don 19, the Miami Heat, they get their talent they don't get it from the NBA draft because 8 of their 12 players were undrafted free agents. The Heat are everything I want the Sixers to be. Brad, I'm sure the Heat are everything you want your Knicks to be. They get players.
They have great scouting, and they just find players that, they find these guys who are diamonds in the rough, and they coach them up to be really good players. I mean, Eric Spoelstra must just be a really good teacher in addition to being a good game coach, because it seems like whoever they gets significantly better when they play with the Heat.
Look, they hit home runs with Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo.
Tyler Hero. I mean, who the hell is he? Where did they get him from?
He's top 10 pick from Kentucky. So
was he? Okay.
Yeah, so was Bam. So they're picking their talent from the.
How did they manage to get a top 10 pick though? When did this happen?
I guess they traded. I mean, they were bad there for a little bit.
Yeah, but that bad?
I mean, yeah, you have like the 10th back end top 10.
Okay.
It's not dreadful. It's not good, but it's not dreadful.
That's true. I guess you're right.
But the only 4 players that got picked on their team in the NBA draft, I guess they have 5 because, I mean, Lowry's in and out. Obviously, he was a draft pick. Victor Oladipo, who was a draft pick. Bam and Hero were draft picks. But, even Jimmy Butler, I don't think he was picked. He was picked in the 20s and not by them. So they have 5 guys on their team that were picked in the NBA draft. Duncan Robinson, not picked. Udonis Haslem, not picked. Max Strus, not picked. All these guys just not picked. They just get them in their building. They use their advanced scouting to find players, and they get players that fit their system that Spoelstra can work with. They're everything that I want the Sixers to be.
It's amazing how well they do that.
Jake gets cake. We're his 2 favorites. We're his favorite show, Brad. Sports Hounds are his favorite show, so we certainly appreciate that. I mean, doing a sign and trade for Brunson, but we don't need sign and trade for Mitchell Robinson to get Brunson. That's got to be a problem if we don't have the center.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
Mitchell
but like
Robinson.
we don't have to. If Mitchell Robinson, if he gets big money somewhere, like no, like good for you. I'm not against anyone getting their money, but I'm not giving Mitchell Robinson big money. So you just don't have big money.
No. I don't. I mean, if you could get him to be your backup center, sure, that would be great. But if you were him, wouldn't you want to play? Wouldn't you want to be a starter somewhere? If not the Knicks, somewhere. I think Mitchell Robinson's going to stay in New York because he does like playing in New York. He really does. So I think that I do think that they're going to try to keep him. But I just don't see him going somewhere where he's not going to start.
Looking at the odds for these before will be the last thing we do before we get out of here. Jimmy and Evan coming up on the Flight Zone right after this. Yeah, I just love Boston to take out Miami. I think I'm gonna put that. I think I'm gonna put that bet in right now.
I like Boston too. You know what, they really showed me something by winning that game on Friday night. That's to go into Milwaukee when Milwaukee has a chance to clinch in Game 6 and to go in there and win that game. That's really, I mean, and Milwaukee is the world champions. To be able to do something like that tells you all you need to know about the Boston Celtics. They've been threatening to win a championship for a long time. Maybe this might be the year. I mean, I don't know if they're good enough to beat Golden State. I don't know that they are. But I don't know that they aren't either.
It's minus 170. Boston Celtics are minus 175 to win the series. So
yeah, I think that
pretty significant favorites to take out. And I think Boston's going to win it all. Boston right now is plus 210 to win the finals. The Warriors are the favorite. Western Conference Finals. Warriors, minus 220. Dallas minus plus 185. That's actually slimmer than I thought it was going to be.
I would think Dallas would be a higher dog than that.
Dude, this Dallas team is good. You have Dinwiddie, you have Brunson.
No, I understand that. They are good. I'm surprised. I didn't think that they would end up. It's funny because they go and they get Kristaps Porzingis, and I guess they thought that he between him and Doncic they'd end up winning a championship with those two, and it didn't work out. And yet they're still great anyway.
Yeah, I mean they're 4 wins away from the finals. Hard to argue with it, but I do think it's going to be the Warriors and Boston, and I think Boston is going to win.
That would be quite the series, though.
I just think Boston has more. I just think Boston has more than anybody left, really.
They play such good defense. That's it. I mean, I've seen enough of Boston to I think I'm pretty accurate in saying that the team is real good defensively.
Yeah.
And that is what wins, and that's what wins in playoffs.
Robert Williams, Marcus Smart.
Their defense in the big spot always seems to come through. They always seem to be able to get that big stop when they have to. That's what I've noticed about them, and they got a couple of guys who can really shoot too. And that guy Tatum is really good. Who's the other one that can shoot?
Jaylen Brown's really good.
Yeah. I mean, they got a couple of guys who can really shoot. They're gonna be tough to beat.
Grant Williams didn't miss a shot yesterday. Robert Williams, Marcus Smart,
Grant Williams played out of his mind yesterday.
They lead the defensive end. So they have everything. They have all the bases covered, and they have a terrific coach, and they're a well-run organization. It was Danny Ainge for years, and Danny Ainge would win every trade he made, and now Danny Ainge has stepped aside, and now Brad Stevens just picks up.
Brad Stevens gets kicked upstairs, and then they end up being even better. Brad Stevens was a hell of a coach too, by the way.
Oh, absolutely.
And he gets kicked. They kick him upstairs, and who's coaching Boston now?
What's his name? Ike Udome, I think his name is.
Okay. Well, he's done a pretty darn good job, too.
Make sure I pronounced it right. Ime Udoku. Sorry.
Okay.
But
Obviously,
yeah, he's doing a great job. Former Philadelphia Sixers assistant under Brett Brown. Oh, I just twist the knife even more. Miami Heat versus Golden State. That's going to be the finals. That's from brother BKL Contreras. Tony Wiley says we're sleeping on the Heat. They're going to surprise a lot of people. Trust me. Okay. I hate Boston. Fuck them.
everybody hates Boston.
I mean,
but they're going to be tough to beat, though.
I come on here. I try and tell the truth, and I try and give myself credibility with the fans, and that includes my Philadelphia sports takes, my sports takes in general, my takes on life.
No matter how much it hurts, it's the only way to fly. I do the same things, Rob.
But like, if I look at it,
it kills me to have to say that the Rangers are probably going to lose in 5. But I think I'm a well enough, studious enough hockey person to be able to make that comment, even though I hope I'm wrong, but that's what all signs point to.
All right, we're gonna get out of here. Flight Zone coming up next. Thank you to everyone who liked, subscribed, and shared the show. Thank you to Frank Vesby for producing the show. Thank you to our great sponsors at All Campus and Aria Public Adjusting. Until next Monday, peace out, everybody.